welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing my October wrap-up, all of the books that I read in the month of October, which ended up being 18 books. That's insane. I'm super happy with that number. Don't know how I did it, but it has been so far my best reading month ever. So that's really exciting. We have lots of books to talk about, and I'm excited to be giving you all my thoughts and my ratings. I have a few that I really want to recommend to you, and a lot of ones that I would not recommend to you. Unfortunately, even though October was such a successful reading month in terms of quantity, it kind of lacked in quality. There weren't a lot of high ratings this month. There were mostly just like average books. So that's kind of a bummer. But I still enjoyed my time and still am glad that I read all of these, most of these. But yes, last month for September, we did my wrap up in a way of, instead of just talking about each of the books, I did the reread, rewrite, burn tag, which I really enjoyed and a lot of you seemed to also have liked. It makes it a little bit more interesting and just kind of more fun to watch and to film. So I am going to be doing that again. So if you don't know how that works, is I have all of the books that I've read in the month written on a piece of paper in here, and I'm going to be picking 3 at a time and choosing which one I would rather reread, rewrite, or burn. That is going to make it a little bit more fun, and I just decided to do it again this month. That is the plan, and since I read 18 books, that is the perfect amount to do 6 rounds of this. I got my cute little fall mug, and let's pick the first 3. 1, 2, 3. So first we have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and Security by Gina Woolsdorf, I think. I have all of the physical books here that I read to show you. So we have The Only Good Indians, Home Before Dark, and then Security I listened to on audio. This should be pretty easy, I think. I would burn Security because I gave that like 2 stars, but now in actuality I'm thinking it's like less than that, 1.5 stars ish. I really didn't care for this at all. It was really quite boring for an audiobook too. I don't know if it would have been better if I had the physical, because I know that the actual print, the way that the writing is throughout the book, I think it's in columns, so obviously when you're just listening to the audio, it's hard to like see that. It's hard to know how it's being written. I just didn't even really care for the story. This kind of gave me Among Us vibes, because like the game, because it's like a murder mystery, okay? So you're following this group of people in this hotel, and you're also seeing who's going around and killing these people and the staff of this hotel. So this killer's going around, it's like a slasher. Everyone's just dying, and you're seeing like the killer going through and killing these people. So it definitely gave me like Among Us vibes because of that. But then it just like didn't keep my attention because I knew what was gonna happen. Like there weren't really many plot twists. Again, it was just audio, so I didn't really care for it. I don't know. So yeah, I would burn Security, and I would rewrite The Only Good Indians and make it way less complicated. I gave this a 2-star as well because it's so like, it doesn't need to be this confusing. The writing is really hard to follow. I listened to it on audio but also had the physical to help me follow along, because if you were just listening to this on audio, you would be completely lost. So I tried my best to like stay into the story and really try and figure out what's going on. The first part, there's like 3 parts to this. So the first part was pretty good, pretty solid. But then the second part came and it got really confusing and completely lost me. And then the third part was just annoying. Hardly had any horror elements by that point. It was a lot of just like basketball talk, which is somehow related to this book. Like it does relate to the characters and like their backstory and stuff, but I did not want to know about all the basketball stuff. So this was disappointing. I would rewrite it to make it less complicated and to make it more horror, because it just kept getting worse as the book went on. So I would write it, I don't know how, but in a way that it would hold up until the very end, you know? And then that leaves Home Before Dark for a reread. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. My least favorite, Riley Sager, unfortunately, but maybe if I reread it and had the expectations of like knowing what is going on, maybe I would enjoy it the second time around. I do think it is very well done. If you like haunted house stories, then I think you would really like this book. I just don't think that that's my favorite trope. It's not my favorite genre, specifically with Riley Sager. I prefer his thrillers over his horror and haunted stuff. So yeah, but I would reread it and see how it goes the second time around. Maybe I would enjoy it more. Okay, round 2. 1, 2, 3. All right, we have A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Horrid by Katrina Leno, which I had as a library book, so I don't have that physical copy anymore. And then Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. That is a graphic novel. And so yeah, this is the only physical one I have of the 3. As you can see, I really did like A Court of Mist and Fury. I do have a vlog going up. I don't think it'll be up before this goes up, but I do have a vlog coming up where I did read this along with some other books, so you will get to hear more of my thoughts about it in that. But I did enjoy my time annotating this. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars just because I don't think I could give this book a 5 for me personally, just because fantasy is not my favorite genre. I don't know, I just can't give it a 5 stars. But with Horrid and Through the Woods, I really did enjoy Horrid. I gave that a 3.5 out of 5. That's a YA horror that I was pleasantly surprised by. And then Through the Woods was just like a fun, spooky graphic novel that I read in the very beginning of the month. I think I would just burn the graphic novel because I don't really like graphic novels. So I would burn Through the Woods. I would... Oof, this is hard. I'm not rewriting this. I don't know if I would reread it either. Actually, maybe I would. I think I would reread A Court of Mist and Fury, burn Through the Woods, and rewrite Horrid to make it adult horror. YA horror can be a little boring and a little superficial for me. I wanted to get like really scary. I wanted to get really intense and creepy. So maybe if it was an adult horror, that could have gotten a higher rating from me. Yeah, if it like followed an older main character and if it got more horrifying, if it was more scary. Through the Woods, I gave 3 out of 5 stars, so average. And yeah, so that's that. Round number 3. 1, 2, 3. We've got Fangs, another graphic novel by Sarah Anderson, and Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Okay, so I have all the physical ones here to show you. Let's see. Okay, so I actually think I would reread Fangs because this was a really cute graphic novel. I love having the physical of it. This is the only graphic novel I own, so I would definitely reread this because I plan to next year, like every spooky season I'm gonna reread this. I really liked it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I would burn A Lesson in Vengeance because it was just really bad, really disappointing. I don't think it did the best job at living up to the hype for most people. This is like a sapphic, witchy, dark academia book. I don't know, it just didn't feel like it accomplished anything and it wasn't very amazing. I gave this, I think I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Oh, I can't remember now. So I actually think I gave it 2.5 out of 5 stars. Pretty average. Like, I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was the best it could have been. I think it could have been way better. There were some fun, like, witchy, dark academia vibes within it, but magic isn't even really real in this book. A lot of the plot is some of these girls, like, trying to prove whether magic is real or not. So there weren't lots of, like, casting spells. I don't know. It was just disappointing. I think I was expecting more from it and it just fell flat. You know, it had good intentions. I just think the writing was a little mediocre as well, and then the plot and the resolution at the end was wrapped up like way too quickly and easily for the main character. But I don't know, if you think that this sounds interesting to you, I would definitely still maybe give it a shot because there has been people who did enjoy this. I just wish there was more from it and it let me down. So I would burn A Lesson in Vengeance. So then that means I would rewrite Rock, Paper, Scissors. This is the last book I read in October. Again, it started out really good and had really interesting characters. The plot twists in here were really good. There were like 3 plot twists at the end, right after another, which I enjoyed. I liked them, and I loved how it made so much sense and like wrapped up everything. I think it's funny when I read thrillers, I sometimes will guess the plot twist because it seems so obvious, but then I hate the ones, I don't hate, but it's so frustrating when after you find out the truth and the plot twist, then it makes so much sense. You're punching yourself for not guessing it sooner, because it's just like, oh my gosh, duh, like how come I didn't see the signs before? Like I thought that was really impressive, but within one of the plot twists, I was hoping for something a little bit more dramatic, but the author didn't go that route, and I was like, oh, like, why not? That would have been so good. Obviously, I'm not gonna say because I don't want to spoil it, but I think that there could have been even more that the author could have done with this story, with the plot twist. So I also gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Like literally so many average books this month. It's so frustrating. There's so many great reviews. Like this book has so many high ratings. Lots of people loved it, and rightfully so. It's a great thriller. I just think it fell flat. Like everything this month was so average, and so I really wanted this to just give me a little bit more, be a little bit more dramatic, a little bit more shocking, and it just wasn't. But definitely highly recommend still if you're into thrillers. And I did like the snowy setting in this little like chapel in the middle of nowhere. I guess I could say what it's about. It's like this married couple go on a little getaway to kind of salvage their marriage because they're struggling. They're keeping secrets from each other. And then I like how different the chapters are. So one of the chapters is from Amelia's perspective, and then another is from Adam's perspective. But then there's also like chapters for each of the years of their anniversary, and then it's like the anniversary gift of that year. So like for the first anniversary, the gift is paper, and then there's like leather and iron and copper and like all of those traditional anniversary gifts. So in those chapters, you're reading a love letter to Adam on their anniversary. I don't know, it is really good. I just wish it gave me a little bit more of a shock value at the end, but I still highly recommend it. It was really well done, and I don't know, it is pretty genius, and lots of people love it. So definitely give it a shot if it sounds interesting to you. And if you have read this, let me know what your thoughts are on it. I would love to know. But yeah, so I guess that means I would rewrite this one in the way that I really wanted it to go in the end. With the first plot twist, I would have taken it that route. So I'm not going to tell you what that is, but that's how I would rewrite it. I think we've got a couple more rounds still. I need to pick up the pace here. Okay, so first we have The Love Hypothesis, and then The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. Okay, so this is by Ali Hazelwood. Absolutely 100%. I am rereading this. This was my favorite book of the month. 5 out of 5 stars. So cute. I know so many people love this book. If you haven't read it yet, you need to get on it because it is so freaking adorable. Honestly, this is probably one of my new favorite romances ever. Like, if you've been on my channel, you know what my previous one was. You know what book I always rave about. I think this one might have topped it because the couple in here is so precious. They are so freaking cute. So yes, I would reread this for the rest of my life. I love this book. Adam is my #1 book boyfriend. It's a grumpy sunshine, fake dating, really cute. Ali Hazelwood did an excellent job with the fake dating trope. I didn't know that I would love a book so much with that trope, but this one really knocked it out of the park. So good. And I just loved both of the characters. Like, sometimes that's really hard for me to like the girl in a romance, but I really did like her, and I loved the science incorporations. Like, I'm not a science nerd at all, so it's like following them in graduate school, and he's a professor. Oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. I love it. So yeah, I would definitely reread that. And then we have This one and Night of the Mannequins. Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, I gave 2.75 out of 5 stars is what I gave that one. I would burn it because it's irrelevant. It's really short. I listened to it on audiobook and it's really, really short. So I would burn it because I don't think it needs to stick around. It's not that big of a deal. I don't even really want to talk about it. This one, however, holy cow. Okay. I need to talk about this one for a second. If you've watched my previous videos, I don't even remember what video that was. I think it was my Thrillathon vlog. I was reading this at the end of that and I was really loving it at that point in the vlog. I was loving it so much. I was probably like this much of the way through and I was absolutely loving it. Really loving it. It was so gross and horrifying and really, really spectacular the way that it was going. But then like from page 200 to like 300, it was freaking pissing me off. It was really annoying for that whole 100 pages. The plot was not moving at all. And then from 300 to 400, it took a turn that I was not expecting. This was a buddy read with Janelle and we had the same exact thoughts going through. We loved it. Then we were like, okay, it's kind of losing us. And then at the last 100 pages, it was like, what the heck did we just read? That was awful. The way Grady Hendrix depicted vampires in this story was not traditional. Like, it's not your traditional type of vampires, so that was really disappointing. It got very sexual, which did not work for me. I was not into that. And it just kind of lost a lot of like the horror elements to it. It just got really weird. It started off strong, then it lulled for so long in the middle, and then at the very, very end, it just like threw in a huge, long, boring fight scene. So I was like, this is so boring. I don't want to read 5 pages worth of them slaying the actual vampire, right? So that's what happens in the last little bit. He just throws it in the end. And at that point, I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, you've totally ruined this book. You've ruined the story. I ended up giving this 2 out of 5 stars as well. I just wish that the way I felt in the beginning lasted through the rest of the book. I don't like the way Grady Hendrix took this story, the way he wrote the type of vampires in this. Yeah, and it was just really annoying how like there wasn't slaying vampires. Like there's no guide to slaying vampires. I think that the title is very deceiving, and then at the very end there's like a big chunk of the fight scene and I'm like, I don't care anymore. Let's just not, okay? So yeah, I ended up really hating it, but I did like the beginning. Like, I just wish that the end was just as good as the beginning. So that was a really disappointing book because of how much I was into it and enjoying it, and then for it to just die on me like that, so depressing. Okay, next one. 1, 2, 3. We've got Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty, City of Ghosts by V.E. Schwab, and Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. So this is the only physical one that I have of those 3. I don't really want to reread any of these. I guess I would burn Catherine House. I gave 3.5 out of 5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook and followed along in the ebook. I would just burn it because, you know, again, it was just very average. And I don't know, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm losing steam here. I'm getting really tired. I've been filming for such a long time. Okay, and then I guess I would reread City of Ghosts by V.E. Schwab. That's a cute little middle grade ghost story that I listened to on audio. That was pretty fun. I guess I would reread it, even though I wouldn't in actuality reread it. But I will continue that series, so that'll be fun. But then I'll rewrite Apples Never Fall, because look at how freaking big this is, and for what? This was so unnecessarily long with so much descriptive detail that we did not need to know. I would take out all of that extra fluff and I would make the ending way better. I would make a huge plot twist. Okay, this had such a disappointing ending. It does not satisfy at all. The ending in here sucked so much. Like, why would anyone want to read such a long book like this with a bad ending? I would make a big plot twist. I would make it so crazy to make it worth reading this 400+ page book. Yeah, this is almost 500 pages. And for what? Like, literally, for what? I loved the humor and I had a decent time reading it. It needed to be more interesting in the end to make it feel worth reading a big book like this. So yeah, I would rewrite that. Okay, finally, our last ones. We have The X Hex by Aaron Sterling, The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, and 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. I am burning The X Hex. If you've seen my vlog where I read this, it's my 24-hour readathon spooky edition vlog. I read this during that vlog, and spoiler alert, I hated this book. It was so bad. I originally gave it 2 out of 5 stars, but now I'm giving it 1. I'm giving this 1 star, and I would burn it because it just doesn't need to exist. I hated it. Yeah, if you want to hear more of how I felt about this book, you can definitely go watch that vlog, but I'm burning it because it's just rude how this book played out. It had so much potential. It could have been so good, but it wasn't. For me, it was really bad. Lots of people do enjoy it, so I don't know, like maybe read it if you want, but I'm burning it. And then I guess I would reread The Last Thing He Told Me. This was average. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Average. Why is everything so average? I don't know. If I was that bored, I would reread it because I did like the stepmother-daughter relationship in this. The plot wasn't my favorite, but that's that. And then 8 Perfect Murders, I guess I would rewrite. I have no idea how though. I don't know. I have nothing to say about that one. I did not care about that one either. I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. So average. I'm sick and tired of average books, okay? Can we just not have any average books next month? November, like I want all amazing 5 stars. Can I please have that? Or at least like give me 1 stars. I would rather take a 1 star than an average book. I just hate average books. They're so disgusting to me for some reason. I'd rather hate on a book than not know what to think about a book, right? Are you with me on that? Let me know in the comments how you feel about average books, because honestly they make me sick to my stomach. I hate giving books 3 stars. I just do. But yeah, so that's that. Those are all the 18 books that I read in October. Fantastic reading month in quantity, but really severely lacked in quality. Like I said, my favorite book of the month was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. So freaking good. I'm so happy that I read that book this month. It wasn't even in the plan, but I ended up getting to it, and so glad I did, because otherwise this month would have really hurt my soul. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you read in October, what your favorite book was, what your least favorite book was. Just let's talk about it in the comments. I'd love to know. And I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you in my next video very soon.